So, Western diplomats, what are they saying about this situation? Well, clearly, assessing the security threat against embassies here in Belgrade, Tony, not just the U.S. embassy was attacked, but also the Croatian embassy, as well as the German one. So you can bet that the ambassadors here, as well as their security chiefs, are meeting in these days and hours and days to try to assess the security on the ground. I specifically asked one Western ambassador here whether or not he was planning to evacuate personnel. He said, we are assessing the situation. All options are open. He says right now there is no evacuation plan. I also spoke earlier with the U.S. ambassador here in Belgrade, Cameron Munter. He basically told me that the U.S. are dissatisfied with the insufficient police response last night outside of the U.S. embassy when those 100 or so protesters attacked the building. He also said that they are not satisfied with, so far, with the response, the public response of Serb officials, and in particular, he singled out the Serb Prime Minister Vojislav Kostunica. He said that Mr. Kostunica must publicly condemn violence. He must promise that it won't happen again publicly, and he also said that he must show deeds to back his words. The ambassador also said that he welcomes the statement so far by the president of Serbia, Boris Tadic, who has convened his National Security Council demanding or requesting a report about yesterday's incident. In that statement, the Serbian president basically condemned violence, the looting, and the burning, and he said there is no justification for this type of violence. But the ambassador clearly left it with me saying, we are not satisfied yet with how the public response has been from the vast majority of the Serb officials in Belgrade at this time. And let's leave it there. Okay, our Alessio Vinci for this morning. Alessio, appreciate it. Thank you.
The U.S. not mincing words in its strong condemnation of the attack on its embassy in Belgrade. Cindy Rubin was Assistant Secretary of State under President Clinton in the late 90s when the future of Kosovo was being determined. She's joining us now live from New York this morning. Thanks for being with us. Really curious about your opinions in all of this. How angry should the United States be about what's happened here?
Well, pretty angry. The embassy of the United States, the territory of an embassy, is supposed to be protected under international law, the Vienna Convention. And when a government is so careless as to allow this kind of mass demonstration to spill over, they knew full well the American embassy, other embassies, Croatia, Bosnian embassies in the region, were going to be possible targets, and they apparently did very little to protect that territory. And that's a reflection of the fact that high up in the Serbian government, there's a certain schizophrenia. There are those who want to see the Serbian people re-enter Europe as a nation in good standing, to participate in the economic progress and thrive in the modern world. And then there are those who look back, perhaps with some reminiscences to the days of Slobodan Milosevic, who used to use thugs like this to get his business done.
So is this a repeat? I mean, where does it go from here? What's the Serbian officials doing right now as we speak?
Well, right now, the Prime Minister of Serbia, who has been really stoking this nationalism through his excessive rhetoric in recent weeks, needs to stand his people down and say that they're going to work this problem peacefully and diplomatically, and he hasn't done that.
Yeah, and how likely is that, especially after what we have just seen? I mean, there's a person dead, there's 100 people or so injured, there's been an attack on an embassy.
Well, that's exactly right, and a failure to react strongly by the Serbian government in their own capital to this kind of thuggery is a sign that Serbia is heading in the wrong direction. That's why the president, who's more moderate, President Tadic, has said and done the right thing. But we need the full authority of the Serbian government to come down on those who would use incidents like this to spread violence, to push Serbia back to the past. This is a battle for the soul and the future of the Serbian nation, and I fear too many of the officials are standing on the sidelines in this battle.
Boy, it sure sounds like it, at least from where we are sitting today. In fact, former NATO Allied Commander General Wesley Clark, he is actually calling for resumption of NATO troops to go back into the region. Do you agree that now might be the time to do that, or is it too soon?
Well, I think it's probably a little late to get troops in to deal with these current disturbances or things that are going to happen in the next week. Several officials outside the government have said that we need to beef up NATO forces in Kosovo in the event that the violence we saw last night begins to spread and that Serbian thugs across this area are going to resort to violence to achieve their objectives. If this begins to spread, then I think NATO leaders need to get together very quickly and realize they have to put a stop to it early. Because if it begins to spread, this kind of violence, this kind of nationalism can become another flame in the tragic history of the Balkans.
Well, that's exactly right. And as we look at that map, geographically speaking, we are not just talking about Serbia and Kosovo. Americans should care about this because of what? I mean, we're looking at all kinds of different countries here that could become involved.
Well, that's exactly right. Europe is the place where the United States has declared a vital interest. We have a NATO alliance. We've gone to war twice in that continent to defend our friends and allies from Hitler's Germany and from the dangers in World War I. So this is a place that has long been front and center in the vital interest of the United States. When the Clinton administration worked so hard to bring peace to the region, to bring democracy to the last section of Europe that had dictatorship and extremism, it was widely accepted as a victory for the Western values we all believe in. And we shouldn't take these victories for granted. We've got to defend them, we've got to protect them, and if this thing goes up in flames, it's going to be one of the great tragedies of our time.
Yeah, and here we are today talking about just that. We appreciate your insight today, certainly. Senator Rubin, former Assistant Secretary of State. Thank you. Nice to talk to you.